So this page here is the overview and instructions, and once again looks at how to get through all of the worksheets. It's there for you to refer back to, and if you have any problems you can of course call our office. You've then got tabs across the bottom, a totals page which will self-populate, an expenses page for you to populate, JobKeeper and wages page, a boosting cash flow grant calculator, and then an income calculator. So let's start with expense items. As it says in a pop-up here, we've listed everything we can think of down in this column, and that may or may not match your expenses. Some of them you may have different line items for, so your accountancy fees might include bookkeeping, for example. You don't have to complete all of them, but you do need to make sure that everything that's on your profit and loss report from last year, which is what you'll be using here, basically what you submitted for your end of year tax return, that everything is included. So if you end up, so tick as you go through and you're filling things out, and if you end up with some things that aren't included here, just pop them down into this other box here and just write down that, I don't know, maybe you've got a hairdressing expense. Then grab your annual figure and put it in here. Your accountancy fees might have been $5,000, and this will automatically calculate what that is per week and give you an adjusted amount. So once again, it's the coloured boxes that you need to fill out here, and that you have an opportunity to fill out here and overwrite them. That might be because, say, last year you did 10,000, oh, not 100,000, $10,000 worth of activities, and because of COVID you've cancelled them all, so that will automatically populate with the 384.62. It didn't do it just then because I overwrote it before, but you might, instead of it saying 384.62, instead of it saying that, you might say, no, I don't want anything in there because we're just not going to spend money on that. You may find that some things have increased. For example, your cleaning contractors. So that last year it was $7,000, and this year it's going to go up more. So you want to increase that from $269 a week up to $500 a week. Go through and complete these and fill out as much detail as you can. And like I said, make sure that everything is included that's in your profit and loss from last year. In this case, we've got mortgage and rent as two highlighted items, generally because it's one or the other. But let's put in, say, $300,000 worth of rent a year. No, that's $3 million. That's an expensive site. Here we go, and that's 11,000 a month. You'll find then that these figures calculate automatically here. And if you go back to the totals page, some of your expenses have been filled in. Okay, the next page that you need to go to, or we'll just is JobKeeper and wages. So let's start with So we go to JobKeeper and Wages tab. This one's fairly simple. Your number of eligible employees is all you need to put in here, and there's a link there if you want to follow the link and see who is eligible. We've then got wages for you to fill in, and you might pay your wages fortnightly, so it might be $20,000 a fortnight. superannuation. This then automatically calculates it to weekly. Superannuation, it's fortnightly is 9% of that, but you're only paying super now on your top-up figures, so it might only be 500. Just going to put that in here. Workers' compensation insurance might be $5,000. Don't forget to speak to your workers' comp insurer if you've got less staff to negotiate lower rates, and make sure that you're choosing, so is it $5,000 a year, make sure you're choosing the right frequency. You may have some contracted employees, someone who's might be an inclusion support person or someone like that. You may have casuals from an agency doing a half shift. And then some states are still collecting payroll tax. Most states are not, and in fact in some wonderful states you're getting refunds. But if you're still paying payroll tax, put that in. And you'll see again that this information all goes into the totals for payroll here. That's that weekly total there. And this information goes into income. So we go to JobKeeper and Wages tab. Okay, your next tab is boosting cash flow. You only need one figure for this, and this is your March BAS or PAYG figure. You put that figure into here and it might be, say, $8,500. Your March credit is 3 times that amount. And if you have a look down here, basically it gets credited to your ATO accounts to pay back any debt, and then it's available as a drawdown or a refund in cash. Then that figure is paid, that initial figure is paid to you in March and April. The minimum total cash flow will be $10,000. So the very minimum you'll get is $5,000 in March, and then 2.5 and 2.5. The maximum is $50,000. So if we were to call this 20,000, you can see this has made an automatic adjustment with the maximum being 50,000. Let's just go back to 8.5 because that's a bit more realistic. This figure is then divided by 4, and over the subsequent months, June, July, August, September, that money's flowing into your bank account as well, with the total of all credits here, the minimum being 20,000 and the maximum being 100,000, which will then feed into our income page. Okay. So the final tab for you to complete is the income tab, and you can see that already some of it has fed automatically through from the JobKeeper payment and then again from the Boost in Cash Flow grant, and I've averaged that out. Your BCP weekly payment, the Business Continuity Payment, or the ECE Relief Package payment, is what the government are now paying you per week on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So let's imagine it's $9,000 per week. That's a fixed number. If you've got apprentices or trainees, you may get another $500 a week for them. If you apply for exceptional circumstances, you may be able to get a top-up weekly amount, and you can either include that in your initial weekly amount, or I would recommend that you try and keep it separate, because there's also some of these exceptional circumstances grants are time limited. So we might say there's another $2,000 a week there. And then your inclusion support carries through, and we might say it's that much per week. Again, make sure that you're choosing, if it's fortnightly, monthly, weekly, yearly, a one-off. CCCF funding, if you were lucky enough to get any, that's a one-off payment, and then I've basically divided it across the 6 months of the first half of the year for you. Lots of states are giving small business grants, and the way to find out all of these is to either click the links here, or if you scroll down a little bit, this link here will take you to an article about the state-by-state stimulus packages, and you can see each state and the various stimulus packages that are available to businesses. And then you can work out if you are eligible for some of them or not. And you might get, say, in New South Wales, there's a small business grant of $10,000, which is a one-off. If you're in the city of Sydney, you'd get another $10,000 depending on what you were doing. For example, if you're feeding homeless people, you get another $10,000, yay. Your bank may give you a loan of up to $250,000 that's guaranteed by the government. Maybe it's, a one-off $150,000. Talk to them if the other figures don't add up. So let's leave that blank for now. In some states, and we spoke about this before, in some states they're actually getting payroll tax refunds, not just relief from paying it, but actual refunds. So you might get a $4,000 refund if you're in one state. You can see this weekly amount here is going up. And reduced licensing fees in some states, you just aren't going to get charged. In other states, you're actually going to get a refund. So you can put that in if you know what it is. So the final tab for you to complete is the income. So we go back to the totals page. Now, according to this page, this person is making a profit of $2,970 a week. But let's remember that all other expenses I hadn't filled out. So let's go back here and let's say that hairdressing is wildly expensive. Just to, I don't think we need 3 million again. I'm enthusiastic with the zeros. Okay, so that figure now would be updated on the totals page. All right, and you can see that income is less than expenses. So if it's in the red, basically this is not a viable business. What you want to do then is work out, can you get a reduction in your rent? Okay, if you are able to get a reduction in your rent, and instead of $300,000 a year, they're going to do it for $250,000 a year. Oh, again, too many zeros. Then we go back to the totals page and we're looking a little bit healthier. We might go to the income page and see if we can get either exceptional circumstances or another grant, or like I said, maybe there's a loan for $50,000. Then if you go back to the totals page, we're looking even healthier. So this figure here is the one that you need to be looking at and working out whether or not your business is viable. And if you can't get it out of the red based on your figures around your expenses and how you're going to rein them in, working on professional development and training, for example, what's a cost-effective way to do that? Did you get a utilities grant? WA have one-off credits, so that may have gone down significantly and need to be adjusted from last year. Will you really have legal costs this year? And for example, this is the licensing and registration and permits. Is that going to actually be a charge this year? Go through there and make sure you can answer all of those questions, and you've asked all of the questions and followed all of the links down here to all of the grants that are available to you. And then if you can't get that number in the black, which basically means that you're breaking even and that you're viable, you need to start seeking other advice. Now, in the link here, most states are also doing mentoring sessions, free mentoring sessions with accountants and business planners. So if you can't get that figure to change, talking to one of those mentors about where your expenses are overtaking your income is something that they might be able to help you with. So
Finally, if these figures aren't adding up for you, you're going to have to get some help. You can go to your ACA state office. There are also a lot of webinars being offered by peak bodies and training organisations to help you with all of this, to understand it, and then also work through the nitty-gritty of this. Besides peak bodies, there are some really good and reputable subscription organisations that are doing great work to support their members during this time. The CCS Help Desk, and it needs to be acknowledged that everybody has been working very hard to address the needs of the early childhood sector during this time. Every decision is made with the best outcomes of the sector in mind. And these decisions are being made with such speed that sometimes the communication of them isn't great. But we know that we've got a minister fighting for us and a department working so hard to get it right for us. We are the only sector that's been thrown a lifeline like this. So do call the department if you're struggling. If you've gone through all of these processes and it's still not adding up, and you've called ACA or another peak body or a support service, then call the government, who may be able to help you. Don't forget that there are state-funded mentoring programs. Go back to that final income tab and scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see the link to see how you access those. Your accountant may be able to help. Do not get your information from Facebook. The misinformation abounding on social media is quite astonishing, and it will just upset or confuse you. Try and make sure that what you're listening to is coming from a reputable single source. And finally, when you click on this, remember to breathe. If you're the one doing budgets, you're in a leadership role, and I know that the pressure is getting to you. It's getting to me. We're all at breaking point. So remember to look after yourself and to breathe. Best of